Hi, thanks for joining me. So today I want to talk about anime I've been watching. Um, I talked about anime I was watching a couple videos back, I think along with some pickups. But this one I want to do just as an anime I've been watching video. And yeah, I'm doing it in this format because I have the camera set up and I've got the PS4 in front of me with Crunchyroll loaded up, so I can take a look at everything that's in my queue. And we're more than halfway through this season. I think we're sort of in the last third of this season, which has been really good. This has been quite a good season. I think last season I'd have to remember what it was I was watching. I think I talked probably about some of those shows, but it seemed like kind of slim pickings. And this time, man, I think there's some really good stuff. I wanted to follow up though with a couple of my anime pickups, just to let you know I've been watching some of these. Run 1/2, this is the OAV and movie series. Yeah, series. It's all the movies and OAVs. I watched the 2 movies because they're totally fun. I had watched them previously, and yeah, it was fun revisiting those again. And they're both pretty good. The second movie is like the fan service movie, the major fan service movie. So if you thought that fan service was like some sort of a new thing where they do the hot spring episodes and the going to the beach episodes, and they sometimes just take a whole OAV or something just to like ogle the girls from the series or something, that's not that new. This has a movie on it right here that was the whole point of it. In some ways, it was also like a regular Ron story. But yeah, so those were fun. I still haven't caught up on the OVAs. I think I've seen them all before, but maybe I haven't. So I'll have to keep watching those. Same with Marmalade Boy here. I watched a good handful of these episodes again, maybe like 10, 12, something like that. I think this is like a 36 episode series, something like that, 38. And I've seen the whole thing before, so not, nothing that I'm looking forward to. You're not going to spoil anything for me or anything like that. I've seen the whole thing. But it's fun to watch again. I've really been enjoying it. The one thing I think is that, kind of like Sailor Moon, it's easy to burn out on. Somehow the way these episodes were structured, they're really, really good for, like, watching one episode a week, And I think stuff now, especially like on Crunchyroll, it's nice if you can sit down sometimes and just watch, like episode after episode of a show. But sometimes shows just don't lend themselves as well to that, and this is like that. Also, I kind of forgot that Miki is so, like, she's such a drama queen. Like, she's kind of annoying. I always just thought she was like, the sweet protagonist of the series, but it's like she's just... It's like half of the series wouldn't be so weird if she wasn't like, I don't know, just overreacting constantly and like, I don't know. I also, as long as I have things here to hold up in front of the camera, wanted to do an addendum to my Blu-ray anime collection. And it doesn't really matter at this point, but if you watched that video and now you're watching this video, I forgot 2 things that I have on Blu-ray. Probably forgot more. But just because they're kind of significant things, I would just wanted to mention that also on Blu-ray, in my anime collection, I have all of Cardcaptor Sakura. This was a really big deal when it came out, and I, was able to pick it up. This is obviously expensive just because it's the whole series. It's got a really unique sort of package too that holds just like a whole ton of DVDs in here. I don't know how many there are. Oh, well, there aren't any DVDs, they're Blu-rays. But there's like a bunch of Blu-rays in here because it's, I don't know how long the series is, it's long. So that, this is just super cool, and I forgot about it. And this is another kind of like cool box set thing, is Ghost in the Shell. Actually, I don't have the other disc in it because it's like it's a DVD Blu-ray set, but instead of like where we have here, typically there's like a Blu-ray box that just has 2 discs in it. This actually is just a copy of the Blu-ray, a copy of the DVD in a DVD case, and a copy of the Blu-ray in a DVD case also. Now, I love this. I think this is subtitled in English, so it's, totally watchable even if you don't, know Japanese. And, but this was like a Japanese or an Asian release of some sort. I got this because they were screwing around with us for so long, where they did that like Ghost in the Shell redo where they like changed some of the colors and remastered some stuff and screwed around with some of the graphics, and like just leave it alone, you know. So that they had, it was like Ghost in the Shell 2.0 or something. I forget what it was. I just don't care. So I picked this up because I just wanted, you know, the movie, and it's a great Blu-ray. It's really, really cool. They finally, like recently, when they did the live action movie, they released a normal version on Blu-ray, so you guys can get that. But yeah, man, I just wanted to update that. So what I've been watching, 5-something minutes into this, aside from on disc, is Blend S. Blend S is really funny. This is a show about mostly a girl. She's sort of the main character, but it's kind of an ensemble cast. I guess you follow like the proprietor of this cafe. He's a foreigner. He's like, I think he's Italian or something. I don't know if I forget. I guess it's like he's like moved to Japan or something like that, and he's running this cafe. But it's one of those like themed cafes that I think you were introduced to if you watched you know, The Melancholy of Suzumiya Haruhi, which is also actually just been posted to Crunchyroll. The wait staff do their job in character. So in this show, it's like the characters, like one of the girls is like a tsundere character when she's waiting on the customers, and then another one is like a kind of an imoto little sister sort of character and stuff. So it's fun. It sort of plays around with these like sort of tropey expectations. It's funny. It's a funny premise. You know, it's just goofy, and it's a fun show so far. It's really good actually. A lot of these have like good opening and ending themes too. Like that's a theme actually running through these. This one is really catchy, the opening and ending. The next one is Anime Gataris. And this is just a pure otaku culture show. And it does it right, I think. It doesn't seem like it has a really big budget. Sometimes the premises, the episodes are kind of goofy, and like they have this weird running, it's not a gag, but it's sort of like a running plot element of like there's something mysterious about the anime club room and like the history of this anime club at this school. It's weird, but suffice to say, you have a girl who doesn't really like watch much anime. She doesn't like know that much about it, but she she keeps having this dream about this one anime she saw when she was a kid, and so when she tells her friend about it at school, like this other girl mistakenly thinks that she's an anime fan, and anyway, together they decide to create an anime club at school, which apparently had been a thing. It had just gone defunct. So the school council president, it has this weird vendetta against the anime club. So a lot of that is sort of like the drama. But what I really enjoy is the parody. There's a lot of parody, there's a lot of references in it, and they're not all geared, you know, especially well for like the Western viewer. So, you know, in some ways that detracts from my enjoyment of it, but in some ways it adds to it too, because, you know, I can appreciate the references that I get, and the ones that I can't, I'm kind of like, you know, I can't get that. But I think it's something that Japanese viewers can understand. So I kind of enjoy that aspect of it too, just sort of getting another perspective on anime fandom. And it's good. It's like up to episode 8, and I'm enjoying it. Next is The Ancient Magus Bride. And this is very interesting. It seems like it had an OVA that came out like maybe a couple years ago or something, before this TV series came out. So it kind of popped up as one of the new things that was coming out, but I went and watched the OVA, which was good. It's mostly like, it's one of those ones that's like super melancholy. So it's like all of the characters are like horribly tragic, and like all the stuff that's happened in this girl's life is terrible, and like I mean, she basically like wants to kill herself like all of the time. It would be super depressing, except that it's also like it's also just sort of like beautifully done, and like the stories are sort of like, they're kind of heartwarming in addition to being like really melancholy. It's got a weird tone to it, but somehow they balance out their thing, their emotions. So like it doesn't just feel like this emo like cry fest or what, I don't know what you call it. It's okay. Like it's a good. They get it right. So this is also on episode 8 now. You know, it's a little weird so far, but it's basically about this girl becoming like an apprentice to this weird mage character person thing that we don't quite know what's going on with them yet. And that's the thing I think is interesting about this. The pacing is sort of slow. You're introduced just to like a lot of sort of like magical characters and stuff, and I kind of like the magic in this. It's very I guess I don't know exactly what it's based on. It feels very familiar, while at the same time also like not feeling really cliched. I don't know quite how they do that, but it's good. If you find the premise intriguing, I would say just watch it because it's an intriguing show, and I've really enjoyed it so far. Now, excuse me. This is also the 3rd season of Food Wars, aka Shokugeki no Soma. Now, I've really enjoyed this series. I think I've talked about it before in anime I've watched because there have been 2 seasons of it. The 3rd season was going along really great, and then they threw in the plot. Like the plot just boom! It was like a plot meteor came down, and I don't know, man. I don't really like the plot meteor. I really liked the show as it was going. And honestly, when this plot meteor struck, I also sort of feel like the budget, like, I feel like the animation just doesn't seem as good, and it's not as focused on the food, and it's just, I don't know, man. I hope that it's not filler. I don't think that it's filler. I assume that this is stuff from the manga, and maybe I should look it up. I don't know that it's as bad as filler. So, like, I haven't gotten to the point where I'm like, wow, like, what's going on here? But the tone has shifted, and I don't know. I don't know what I think about it. I was really enjoying this season, though. It's up to this episode 9, and I think this has been in the past, like, 2 or 3 episodes. So it was really good. I really enjoyed. It was like the Moon Festival or something like that, where you know, the whole school got together and did this big, like, I think it's a week-long festival of like a cultural festival kind of, but it's all food stalls, and it was really fun. I love Food Wars, so I'm not going to go on about it anymore. Another new show, Recovery of an MMO Junkie. This also has a really cool opening theme, and it's been cool so far. And honestly, it's been good, I would say. This is I guess what I think I would expect from a geek culture / romance series, and it's kind of just what you'd expect. Like, the main character is this like not quite middle aged, like in her 30s, like woman who quits her job. She doesn't really work out for her working at a Japanese company, and she basically becomes a shut-in playing MMOs all day. And it's about her, like, and this ill-fated romance between her and this other guy that end up bumping into each other, and it's exactly what you'd expect. It's like all of these people that are playing in the game kind of like start having ties to each other in real life, and it's super fun. There was another series, I think last season, called Gamers, which is exactly what that should have been. Like, I sort of thought it was just going to be like otaku culture, but it was more of a romance thing, and it was a stupid romance. It was just lame, and like, so like they didn't do the otaku culture right, and they didn't do the romance right, and it was just awful. I just dropped the show. I don't know how many episodes I watched, but it was dumb. This is the opposite. It's super good. So really enjoying that. Next is Black Clover. And this was kind of a surprise, and it's not the kind of thing I normally watch. Honestly, the first episode wasn't that good, and to tell you the truth, I almost laugh every episode that I watch because the budget just seems like it's not very good. It's animated by Studio Pierrot, which, like, they seem to do good stuff. I mean, they've done other series. I think this just doesn't have a big budget, and it every episode feels like it's basically animated to the level of a Naruto filler episode. So for what that's worth. And it's also a shonen show, and it's like it's kind of derivative too. It's not like, I don't know, necessarily that unique a thing, but it's basically about this kid who like wants to become the Wizard King. He wants to be the best magician and wizard in the world, but he doesn't have any magic. And everybody has magic. This is a world where, like, every single person in the world has magic, except for this kid. So, and he's the one who, like, he desperately wants to be, like, the magic king. So, so yeah, of course he ends up, like, basically, he and this kid who ended up getting dropped off at this monastery when they were kids, and they're raised by this church, and blah, blah, blah. They have this mysterious backstory we don't know about. They go on to, like, basically take a test to become magic knights, and you also, like, I guess at a certain point, a certain age, you get a grimoire. So this kid, I guess I don't want to spoil anything, but you can assume this kid gets a grimoire. Spoiler. This just happens in the first couple episodes. So even though he doesn't have any magic, he does get this magic grimoire, and it does let him do, like, magic-ish things. So it's cool so far. Like, something about it, it's fun. It's up to episode 9, and I've enjoyed it so far. The kid's voice is really annoying. He screams all the time. I shouldn't like this show, but it's good somehow, so it's worth watching. Next up is March Comes In Like a Lion. Now, I've been watching this for, like, 1 or 2 seasons now, I think. I don't really know if this is the second season or the third, or I don't know. But it's good. It's about this dude who is a shogi player. And I might have talked about this before. I don't know. But this is one of those weird ones, too. It's also, like, strangely dark, like The Magus Bride is. It's like, this kid basically like all he has ever done his whole life is played shogi. And he's played shogi because it's like he doesn't fit in, and, like, nobody likes him, and, like, his parents died, and so, like, this guy that he knew, I think, through playing shogi to start with, like, took him in as his adopted son, and, like, sort of groomed him as a shogi player. So it's like, it's sort of been, like, his only connection, his only emotional connection to, like, his family, and his family's really messed up, and his sister's, like, kind of insane, and, like, his stepsister, and, like his step siblings, like, resent him, and, like, it's really there's a lot of dark undertones, but it's very interesting because it's also one of those series that is presented in a very like, there's a lot of comedy to it, and there's a lot of levity to it, brought in by, like, some of the other characters, even though some of those other characters get some dark undertones to them. But it's somehow, like, it's a dramedy about playing shogi that's just really good. I don't know, like, it's still super interesting. Like, some of the stuff that's happening now, I'm just like, wow, like, this would be, like, wrist-slittingly depressing, except that, like, it's March Comes In Like a Lion, so it's, like, it's totally watchable, and I'm enjoying it. I don't know, just watch the show, it's really good. And last couple things, I guess. So, next up is Yuki Yuna is a Hero. Now, this isn't from this season. I don't actually even know which season this is from. At least a couple seasons back, probably. But, yeah. Orekan got the game on the Vita, I think. That's, like, a Japanese game. So, I was like, oh, well, there's an anime. Maybe I'll see what that's like, because maybe the game is cool, and maybe I'll like the anime. So, I think he and I both ended up watching it. I think he's watched the whole thing. I'm actually still on episode 11. I haven't watched the last 2 episodes. Weird. Man, this show is weird. It's, when you first watch it, I'm like, okay, this is like Madoka Magica crossed with, like, Evangelion, and well, it made me think of My Hime a little bit, too. So, I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like this mishmash of, like, well, it's like school life, school girls, and, like, they're sort of like magical girls, but it's going to be all dark and stupid. And that's exactly what it is. Like, it's schoolgirl magical girls, and it's getting all dark and stupid. But I don't know, man. It's been weird, like so weird. Like you get to episode, it's not even that weird. They almost telegraph this stuff. Like you kind of see these things coming, but like you get to the middle of the season and then they're like, okay, like maybe this is what's going on, and then you get into like to the episodes that I'm on, and you're like, okay, well maybe this is what's going on. But basically, like it gets more and more emotionally intense as the season goes on, and I don't know, man. The last episode, like it was sad. It's like whoa, like this is, I don't know, like they kind of got the emotions right with it. So I guess if you like Madoka Magica and like sort of that sort of thing, if it can like pull on your heartstrings a little bit, or like just I don't know, just get its hooks into you a little bit, like Yuki Yuna is a hero. It kind of does that. It's not anything like what I was expecting, but I guess once you realize it's basically a Madoka Magica style show, that's what it is, and it's pretty good so far. I just haven't quite finished it up yet. And another thing yeah, we're 22 minutes in. If you're still watching this, man, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. Just a little bit of a rant. My rant is about the relationship between Funimation and me, kind of. It's the relationship between the consumer and the producer in like this streaming media environment. And so it has to do with Crunchyroll, it has to do with Funimation, and now it has to do with Amazon. So in the same way that Netflix came along and just sort of like was like, oh, basically paved the way for like what is obviously makes sense in this day and age, is just for anime. In that case it was like TV shows and movies and stuff. But in this case with Crunchyroll, it's for anime just to stream and just be available. You just fire up a thing and you watch it. You pay whatever, $10 a month or something like that, or like 8 or 6 or something, and and you can watch anime, or you can do Asian dramas and stuff too. But they simulcast, so like stuff will come out in Japan, and then I don't know how many hours later it comes out here, and you can watch it. It's not dubbed, it's not whatever. They don't subtitle the songs. Who cares? I just want to see these shows. Now, Funimation had to get into the game. They made their own streaming thing, which has pissed me off forever, ever since they started doing it. Because what it means is all of Funimation stuff, everything they've licensed, is now locked behind Funimation's wall. So it's like, okay, I already have like Amazon Prime Video, and I already have Netflix, and I already have Crunchyroll, and if you already have Hulu or something like that, I mean, you can watch some anime on Netflix and Hulu and this and that, and you can watch it on Crunchyroll, and now there's Funimation's thing. Now I kind of get, like they want sort of a piece of this pie, but like I wish that they could just be, publishers and distributors, and they could just work with these platforms and just let them have the content and not try to build their own content framework. But that's business, I guess, and whatever. But it's consumer unfriendly, I think. And monopolies and whatnot aside, in this case, I think these are consumer unfriendly. So consumer unfriendly number whatever here is apparently Amazon has started up an anime thing, and so like this season we should be able to be watching Himoto Umaru-chan the second season on Crunchyroll, and we can't because Amazon has it now. So so that's annoying. It's just annoying. And I don't even think it's like Amazon Prime. You have to sign up for a new stupid streaming thing through Amazon. So anyway, I think that rant is done. Amazingly, for some reason, Funimation is bringing some of their back catalog to Crunchyroll. So, Full Metal Panic. So there's a couple other things I queued up. I just haven't watched them. I queued up Tokyo Majin, which I want to see. I queued up Dot Hack Roots, and there's some other Dot Hack stuff I want to see. I queued up Galaxy Railways, which I own on disc. I just haven't gotten around to watching it yet. So I haven't watched any of those yet. But I started watching Full Metal Panic because I really liked Full Metal Panic Fumo Fumo, which I think is sort of like just like Full Metal Panic season 2. Because I think it's a 12 episode season, though the first season's like 24 episodes. But I think a while back, when I first liked Fumo Fumo, somebody gave me bad information, and I think that information was that Full Metal Panic was totally different than Fumo Fumo. And that Fumo Fumo was like sort of like a comedy spin-off, and like Full Metal Panic was sort of more like a normal like mech show. So I like this whole time I've been convinced that like it was just sort of like a military like action series, and you know, it just wasn't going to be funny. But it's not. It's a comedy, and it's hysterical, and it's still like about whatever, I forget what the main character's name is, like being in school and being completely out of place, and it's really funny. So so anyway, I've been watching Full Metal Panic. I'm up to episode 12. It's really good. If you guys like comedy anime that also has like, I don't know, like some school life stuff and some military like mech stuff in it, it's funny. It's a really good show. So that's about it. It's been a long video, so I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed hearing what I'm watching. I'd love to hear what you guys are watching this season, and or if you're catching up on any stuff.